Hi guys, so today on my channel, we are going to be talking about something I have never talked about before, and that is summer books that I have read and I plan on reading. I asked you guys over on my Instagram for some ideas of things you would like to see from me. And one of the things that was mentioned and was liked by over 70% of you was Booktube, which is essentially when people go on and talk about books that they're reading. Now, in the wintertime, I don't tend to have as much time to read, but in the summertime here in Cape Cod, I tend to be on the beach much more often. I tend to have more people around, and I tend to have more time to sit and actually read. I don't actually watch as much TV. I love nothing more than finding a good book for on the beach. Now, for years, I was an avid book reader, like a physical book. And then after the years of being up here and being on the beach so often and finishing a book, maybe not having the book with me down at the beach, I am at the beach. My go-to is still an old school Kindle. I love this thing. So I'm going to talk to you today about my top 10 reads that I've already read this summer on my Kindle, and then I'm going to tell you about some books that I plan on reading coming up. Before I start counting down these videos, I do want to let you know that my genre of books that I tend to like tend to be kind of a suspense style of book. Definitely, you know, like Girl on a Train, if you saw that movie, type of style. So I just want you to be aware of that. This is going to be a video where I count it down from 10 to 1. I'm going to start with the number 10 book. I really enjoyed this book. It is called The Rumor. And basically, I'm going to give you a little bit of a synopsis of each book without telling you too much and giving it away. It is basically a book about a rumor that got started at her son's school about a notorious killer that is living in their area under a different name and kind of a different life. So it is really, really good. It is definitely a page turner. It is definitely a book that keeps you interested all the way up until the end. The number 9 book on this countdown is called The Last Anniversary. And this is by a woman named Liane Moriarty. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but I do tend to like her style of writing. It's a good kind of mix of trying to figure it out. It's not necessarily suspense. It's a little bit more maybe into the romance genre, but it has a little bit of suspense. It definitely was a book about a woman who had someone she was in love with essentially, and she decided not to get married to him. She married somebody else, and it's kind of figuring out, she moves back to the town she lived in and kind of figuring out kind of how her life has changed and did she make the right decision. Very, very good read. Number 8 is a book called When Never Comes. Quite honestly, I probably should have moved this up higher on the list. This one was really, really good. It was about a woman who basically had this perfect life, and then one day her husband gets in a car accident and dies, but there's someone else in the car with him. And it's a trial and tribulation of trying to figure out who that person is, how they were involved. It is such a good read. Definitely a great choice for the summer. Number 7 is called The Husband's Secret, and it is by the same author that Liane Moriarty. And this is basically a book about a woman whose husband writes her a letter that she's not supposed to read until he passes away, and kind of it unfolds throughout that letter. Number 6 is a book called The Couple Next Door, and it's basically a book about a couple that lives next to another couple and they're friends. The one couple has a young child. They have a dinner together. The young child goes missing, and it's kind of a whodunit type of suspense. Great choice. Number 5 is The Last Mrs Parrish. This is essentially a book about a woman who kind of covets another woman's life, and it's how she kind of finds a way to make the husband fall in love with her so she can get rid of the last Mrs Parrish. This one was like a good twist and turn type of book. Definitely a good choice as well. Number 4 is a book called The Party, and The Party is about a 16-year-old's birthday party and something that happens, an accident that happens that night, and I'm not giving anything away, that happens within the first couple seconds of the book. And it's essentially like what led up to that accident happening. It's the parents' life. It's the father, the mother, the friends of the friends' parents. It's so many different people in the book that it's a little bit hard to follow for a couple minutes, but then once you get into it, it is so worth it. Number 3 is a book called The First Mistake. And essentially this book is about a woman that was married and her husband passed away and she remarried. She had a child with the first husband and then had a child with the second husband. And this book is amazing. So good. You will not believe the ending. There are so many twists in this book that you think you figured it out every single time. You won't expect the ending. So good. Book number 2 is It Ends With Us. It Ends With Us is a little bit different of a story. It's basically about a woman and a man that meet, and the woman, it's kind of about her past, what was her family. Her mother was abused by her father, and it's kind of like it ends with us. They want to end the cycle. So there's a lot of twists and turns with it. There's a lot of characters and how they're involved, but it is a really, really great book. That was like one of my favorites for this summer. Obviously, if it hit number 2. The number 1 book that I have read thus far is The Night Olivia Fell. Oh my gosh. This one was so good. It was just a page turner. It's about a girl, again, I'm not giving anything away, a girl that falls, they tell you that right in the beginning, and she passes away. And then it's kind of figuring out what happened to her throughout the whole book and all the different characters and the parents and the friends and what happened. So good. This was by far, of the things I read, my favorite book that I've read so far. I did also try to read The Woman in Cabin 10. I just couldn't get into it. It's still on my Kindle. I kind of try to go back to it. It just wasn't keeping my attention. Now on to a few books that are on my want to read for this summer. I want to finish them in the next month, and I have quite a few of them and they're already downloaded. The first one is called Coast Road. I'm just going to show you what they are here. You can look later. On the Island, All We Ever Wanted, The Silent Patient, Jar of Hearts. That one is my next one coming up. That one looks so good. Watching You and Shelter Me. So I'm going to check all of those out as well. So I will put the information for all of these books listed down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this style of video. This was fun for me to do. I did have a request to also do a favorite TV show one. Would you guys be interested in that? If so, let me know down below in the comments. As always, everything I'm wearing will be listed down below in my description box. And if you have any questions about anything I talked about here, please let me know. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching and sticking with me, and have a great day. Bye.